Okay, so this is for user Katie Wags 11. My boyfriend drinks to cope. If you are not the OP, not the poster of this, then have a look at the link in the description for the full context of the post. I've officially decided my boyfriend uses alcohol to cope with anxiety, stress, depression. He started counseling a couple of weeks ago and he's at his second official meeting today, but he's had 3, including the interview. If I'm not around, basically when I'm at work, I believe he can't handle his anxiety, depression, and gets drunk, which obviously is unenjoyable to come home to, lol, and is a problem. Look, you're right. It is a problem. There's obviously trauma in his life, or a sense of nihilism. If you don't know what nihilism is, it's Nihilism. Just Google voice nihilism. It's essentially the belief that nothing matters. And it comes to us because of, like, life is hard. Life is fucking hard. Like, just to be a person is sometimes real fucking hard, right? And sometimes it's harder for other people than it is for some, and so it's no wonder that he's taken to substance abuse to cope with the stresses of his life. And especially if he's got, if he's predisposed to anxiety and depression. Today, I believe he was drinking and driving, and I know for a fact that a couple of weeks ago he was actively driving and drinking a beer, so obviously this is an issue. Yes, it is. I think it's more tied towards anxiety than alcoholism, but I do think he has a problem with controlling his drinking. I don't know if he's an alcoholic yet, but there's a fucking good chance that he will become one, okay? So tonight I told him if he continued to drink, I didn't want to be with him and fought, and then I left because I got upset. Then I came back and started crying. He started crying and getting really upset and saying no, he has nobody. He doesn't know how to be happy. He can't do this anymore, and he just wants to be happy. Okay, I'm going to explain something to you. When people say they just want to be happy, what they mean is they want the cessation of pain in their life. Pain that has no purpose, okay? So if you go get a what's it called? Fucking vaccination. If you go get a vaccine, they stab a needle in your arm and it hurts, but there's a reason for it. There's meaning to the pain. It's the same with going to the gym, and it's the same with going into surgery, okay? So life is suffering. It is suffering. And the reason, like, it's technically suffering, the reason is because to live is to have limits. And to have limits is to suffer, which means to live is to suffer, okay? So the question is, can it be worth the suffering? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. This young man needs to find meaning in the suffering. He needs to find purpose in the suffering, because he's not the only one that suffers. And he's not the only one that suffers without purpose. And he wants to be happy. He doesn't want to be happy. He wants a constant and increasing supply of dopamine in his brain so he doesn't feel unhappy. Okay. But he's not going to get that. What he needs is he needs to find meaning and purpose in that suffering. So it's good that he's going to counseling. It is very good that he's going to counseling, and he needs to continue that, okay? I know he wants to get out, but he needs to continue going to counseling. He could change counselors. He could go to a psychologist. He could do something else like that. But if he's got no one except you, it's a pretty harsh thing to request the person that you love to bear the burden of your suffering alone. That's a hard thing to ask for. And so I understand why you want to leave if he continues to drink. I understand that, and I don't disagree with that position. I think that you have healthy warning signs going off in your brain, and he needs to be willing to sort his shit out to keep you. Okay? You are valuable and you are worthy, and that doesn't mean don't help him, but it means that he needs to be willing to be helped. The first rule of counseling is don't give advice. The second rule of counseling is don't care more for that person's problem than they care for that problem. So if he's going to put the burden of this onto you, that's not a good thing. But if he's willing to pick up that burden and walk along beside you because he sees a good future and he sees meaning it will be a lot better for you, for him, and for you both as a couple. Okay. The thing that I would advise you to do is you need to decide on a break point. How much drinking is too much drinking? Is there violence involved in his drinking? If not, that's good. If so, you probably need to make a decision on getting out, or like when that bar is as well. Now, he feels like he isn't getting anything out of counseling. That could be because he's not being honest in counseling. He's not willing to be honest with the counselor and himself in coming to terms with why he feels like the way he does. It could be for another reason too. It could just be a shit counselor. Like, this person could just be sitting on their phone while he's talking to them, or writing. It seems that like they're writing notes, but they're drawing pictures. Like, you know, a shallow person just doing their job, who themselves has suffering with no meaning. Okay, so it could be just that they're a shit counselor. He's going to go every 2 weeks, but I was going to try to come up with some ideas of things he might be looking to get out of counseling. That's a good idea. Also, it might be a good idea to increase the counseling if he's okay with that. If he's not, that's okay. Just maintain. He needs to maintain. He needs to stay in it. He can't quit. No one's a failure for failing. People become failures when they quit. Okay. And that'll only spiral him down. If he quits counseling, it'll spiral him down because he will see himself as having failed at something, which he has, but that doesn't mean he's a failure, right? He's probably, from what I have read, a good bloke that is really struggling with suffering. Like maybe goals to set within coping skills. I think goals are a fantastic idea. Now, you need to have small goals first. You need to write the big goal up here, right? Where's my hand? Okay. The big goal up here, and then the smaller goal here, and the very small goal down here. Okay. All I need you to do, man, is go and mow the lawn. Or all I need you to do is do something worth doing. Okay. Like, we cannot be our own slaves and our own masters. We negotiate with ourselves all the time. So if it's the case that he can't not drink, how about this? How about don't drink whiskey, just drink beer instead? Or how about instead of 6 beers a night, you drink 4 beers a night, right? But it has to come from him. If you give him ideas, he's going to think, okay, maybe, yeah, I'll give it a try. But he's not going to buy into it. So the way that I would phrase it to him, ask him what his goals are. Ask him to write down his goals. Write them down. And I really mean that, because it'll give him something to see when he's in pain, when he's struggling. It'll give him something to remind himself of that which he wants. Okay. My heart broke in 1,000 pieces when he cried and said he doesn't know what to do. I just really need some advice here. Not sure what to do. Here's what I would do. And I don't want to endorse any specific people, because I don't make any money off doing these videos or endorsing certain people. The thing that really helped me get my life together as a young man, I'm 32 now, and I started this when I was, I think, 28 or 29. I started getting into the psychological teaching of Jordan Peterson, who's really famous on the internet. Initially, he became famous because of politics, but I don't care about the political issues. I care about the psychological issues. He's got about 20, 25 years of teaching on YouTube, and I think that his principles, like taking responsibility, because you got to remember that one of the reasons that people don't have any buy-in in their lives is because they don't have anything that they're working towards. They don't see the future as being better. They don't see the future as having connection in it and love in it and purpose in it and community in it. Okay. But if you and him can build, and if he can build the desire for that and a plan to get there, to get to community, connection, love, and romance, and building something, have a really good paying job and have a really nice house and a good car and whatever he loves to do, have 6 PlayStations if you want. So, but here's what I will say at the end of this video. You need to have a line that if he crosses, you're out. And you need to write that line down, and you need to hold to that. You need to hold the line. Okay, that's what it means to hold the line. You need to have a rule where if he crosses that line, you're out. Don't necessarily tell him. Don't tell him, okay? Because it may trigger him to go for that line to see his own destruction. Because sometimes we have self-destructive behaviors that we go into and then we bring everyone down with us. It's the same thing cult leaders do. They have a self-destructive behavior like that guy Jim Jones in the 70s who... the Jonestown Massacre. He had self-destructive behaviors and he brought everyone with him. Okay, you don't want this guy to bring you down with him. It's better that one person drowns than two. It's just as simple as that. Okay, and as cold as that is, because you do love him, and I understand that, it is better that one person drowns than two people drown. Okay, so you need to have a line that you think about, that you write down, and it could be locked on your phone or in your diary or whatever. That if he crosses that line, or if his behavior becomes bad enough, you just get the fuck out. But before that, have a look at Jordan Peterson about his psychological teaching for young men. That really sorted me out. And there's a book called 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. It's on Amazon. You can get an audio book on Apple or Google Books. And you can also buy the book in hard copy or get it on Kindle. That book really helped me. Okay. And so that's just a single piece of advice. And so, look, I really hope this video helps. I wish you the best of luck and hold your ground, because I think that you are not a bad person. And I think that this is a genuine concern. But don't care more about the problem than he cares about the problem, because he is the catalyst for the change. Good luck.